her seed. Talk to your seed. Talk to your seed. I ask you to select 12 world-class miracles that you would like to experience in the next 12 months. 12 is a number of authority in government. I want you to make a list, even while you're sitting on the phone. Write down a list. These are 12 areas of my life I would love to see the favor of the Lord upon my life. I would love to see God bless me. I asked the Lord one time, why is my money so important to you? He said, because it's what's important to you. Wow. It's what's important to you. Here's what Anita wrote me. I know Anita. Her husband was Mr. America, Mr. Universe. She's one of my great partners. Anita, we're coming to California in just a few hours. I sowed my first $58 seed and named it my new vehicle. In the next few months, I found the car and received favor at the dealership. Got the car fully loaded for the price I had requested.
Okay, now talk for just a moment about that. Naming
your seed?
Yes.
You have to have, I got this from Elijah. Didn't know anything about that at all. I'd heard Oral Roberts talk about, wrapping your seed with expectation. He's the first man I ever heard say that. Wrap your seed with expectation. But in reading 1 Kings, the 17th chapter, and I've studied that, because it was a man that God was providing for miraculously. He didn't need a church. He didn't need partners. He had God, and God had a bird and a brook. And God fed him steaks every day. And but one day, there was a widow woman in a little town called Zarephath. And the day that she reached her last meal, God turned his water off. Now, this is real critical for ministers to understand. Sometimes God cuts your supply to get you to somebody that doesn't know how to use their faith. Because I believe if that brook would have stayed, he might have never obeyed God. He might have sat right there and never did. But the day that she reached her last meal, God turned the water of the brook off. The brook dried up. And God said, I have an assignment for you. There's a woman who's going through something, and I want her to feed you. Now, the instruction was not in her heart. The instruction was in Elijah's mouth. The instruction was not in the widow woman's heart. The instruction was in Elijah's mouth. He goes and he knocks on her door and he asks her for some water. She goes to get it and he said, now would you bring me a meal? And she begins to explain to him the poverty in her life. She said, I only have enough food for me and my son. In fact, he's dying right now. And after this meal, we will both die. We have nothing left. And Elijah begins to paint a picture in her mind of the assignment of her seed. He didn't look at her and this is strong. This is